What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Colton Posey Fishing. It is crackhead 30. It is freezing cold, middle of November, and we're out here on Bear Creek. We're gonna try to put some toads in the boat. If not, I'm happy with a few fish as cold as it is, but it is freezing outside. It's like 27 this morning. So stay tuned. This is something you don't want to miss. Fishing. So today I'm gonna go over my top baits for this time of year. Really, I'm out here on Bear Creek Lake. I actually run out of the swim baits that I typically use this time of year up here. Give me just a second. This wind's blowing like crazy. So like today, this morning, when I first got here, clear skies, no wind, really just a bad day for bass fishing, especially this time of year. As it's gotten later on in the day, the wind's picked up. That's the reason my boat's getting blown around a lot. One of the things that I found to be really helpful when this wind started blowing is the Rapala X-Wrap jerkbait, and I'm running it on a moderate action rod. So basically just taking this thing. The water temperature when I got here was like 48, 47, somewhere around in there, depending on where I was at. They was not biting real good. They were on shad, but they're so keyed in on what they're eating right now, you really have to mimic those shad to the best of your ability. But either way, I noticed when this wind picked up, we got a little bit of cloud cover. This X-Wrap jerk bait really did the trick. Basically 1-2 pause, sometimes 2 seconds, sometimes 8 seconds. The water temperature's picked up now. It's somewhere around 59 degrees, so that's good. And typically this time of year, the later the day gets, that's when your most bites are going to come, just because everything's heating up. They'll push the shad up against banks. But with this wind and, you know, no clouds and stuff to begin with, what they're doing is they're pushing these shad straight down. Like up over here where I was at, they push these shad straight down, and they've got them in a little ditch where they can't get out, and they're basically just going down and gorging on them. The only bad part is they're so keyed in on what they're eating, it's really hard to catch those fish unless you're using something that mimics what they're eating perfectly. So the second thing, this is what 90% of my bites was coming off of. It's a 4x4 swim bait head. Can't talk. But either way, it's a 3/8 ounce, and I can cast this thing a country mile, and I've got a 2.75 inch rage swimmer. Now here's the key. A lot of people like Kitech, and I love Kitech, don't get me wrong, but this time of year I want to throw a rage swimmer, and the reason that I do that is because the ribs on these rage swimmers is actually pointed forward, so I get more resistance, and I can slow that bait down a lot more than what I can with a Kitech or a different kind of swim bait. So this is what 90% of my bites was coming off of in the morning. When I started out, I got on the side of a ledge going to a bridge where everything, I knew everything would be funneling in that bridge because it comes back into a big creek where I'm at now. But it's a split. Left goes to the creek, right goes to a creek, so it's a split between two huge creeks. It's just a good funnel for bass to push shad up in. And they had the shad pushed up, but they had the shad pushed up to about 10 foot deep. So once I saw that, the bass were suspended at 15 foot. the shad were suspended at 10 foot. I was sitting in somewhere between 25, 30 foot of water. They were sitting off these ledges and off the cover that you would typically throw at. And what I would do, I'd take this, I would count it down, let it get down to like 10 foot, and then I would just start slow retrieving. And 90% of them bites come after about 8 or 9 turns. So that's a good little trick. Now, the color that I was using was not this green pumpkin pearl. That's what I was talking about. I run out of the color that I was catching them on, which is electric shad. Just with the calm conditions that we had and how tiny the threadfin are that they're feeding on right now, that electric shad really helps mimic those bait fish. So another little trick I got on one point on up the creek, and it's a main lake point, and they had the bass were just kind of suspended, or not suspended, but they were pushed up against the bottom. They were just stacked up against the bottom. Kind of looked like catfish in a way, but you know, they wasn't catfish because it was up off the bottom, but they were pretty tight to the bottom. And what I'd do, I'd take this 3/8 ounce, or ½ ounce, I'm sorry. It's a G Money jig with a rubber skirt. I've had this one custom built. It is got June bug and brown in it. Typically I throw a brown jig. If they won't bite the brown one, I throw the black one. I just keep it really simple when it comes to jigs. Got a green pumpkin trailer on there, whatever kind of chunk you like to use. But basically I would take this and I would throw it and I would let it hit bottom, and then I would just slowly drag it across the bottom. And you can see the back of that head, how I've just knocked the paint off of it. So slowly dragging it, you'll start feeling resistance. When you feel that resistance, that's typically where the bite will come from. You'll feel them start pulling, and then you just pull into them, set the hook. So that's another good bait for this time of year. The very last one, super simple. Drop shot. Drop shot, drop shot, drop shot. And you want to mimic those shad to the best of your abilities. So typically something like a pearl white or anything like that. When it's real calm and stuff, you may have to go with something natural, like I did earlier this morning. I was throwing Aaron's Magic Robo Worm. I like it a lot, but now as the day progresses and stuff, you know, don't be afraid to swap to something that's from a natural color to a shad color or something like that. If the bite starts slowing down, just kind of flip-flop and play with it this time of year. You have to, because if you don't, you're going to start losing bites as the day progresses, or you're not going to have bites in the morning, and so on and so forth. It's just kind of a flip-flop thing. This time of year is a real tough transition for the bass. It's a real tough transition for the anglers. You're so used to speeding up, moving real fast and things like that. Now it's time to slow down. So guys, I hope that helps you. I hope that helps you catch more bass this November. See you next time.